we're going to have some poetry, we're going to have some poetry and then some music. So without much more, let's welcome the song stylings of Richard Sangeleer, who's going to play some music for you. Richard.
Hey everybody, how you doing this evening? All right. This first song is called The Scene, as though none of you knew anything about it.
So you guys can play today.
But everybody's talking nonsense, and I can't get to the door, I can't get to the door, swimming around the embryonic, losing a good time, either or down, and the overflow of ideas that twines from my primal urges, and through my elementary canal, all my passions and I caught as a child turn to vices. Now I'm left to a forsaken world with nothing to do. I'm up against about 50 people crowded in the room. All I want is a drink to soothe my soul. But everybody's talking nonsense, and I can't get to the door, I can't get to the door. The band's about to play, the ladies are all winking. By the time the first song begins, I'll got so back to drinking. Stealing news from those who steal my conversation, steal my conversation. Everybody. This next song is about a person I knew that happened to slip from the slip knot. This song's called Rascal. Beauty we found in the gutter, trying to avoid the drunken hour and all night is eternal in her stare. looks like she's seen the whole earth. She knows everything but doesn't have time to explain it. She conquers mind, body, and soul. With its free and my innocence untainted. She went to hell and back and has heaven for her conclusions. She is a miracle. Passion is her oracle. She moves time and space like a dragonfly in the feeling heart. Dancing in the breeze of pettiness. Proving grace or singing while she moves, knowing she must be strong for a view to many reasons. She wears emotions to defend herself, using patience as she gives what she can without taking what she needs. God is all about chapters on the healer. She knows it'll come back to her if only she'll let it. She's like nature herself. She's like the universe herself. Contradiction of all or nothing. Thanks for listening. Arbitrarily, you know. by, then you lost my respect. Being that you are so unkind. Just wasting my time as you cater to the insistence that the riddles you have muddles your mind. And these hormones, they tickle your ego. And I know that you were lost all the time. I gotta ask you one question. Why?
As they say, keep it going for Richard. Richard. So Club Symbiosis is essentially a gathering of people who do things that involve things that weren't there before, such as words and sounds. Are you with me on that? Do I need to repeat? Club. So tonight we have a lot of local, interesting fellow artists, people in both the audience and on the stage. People including Don Pomento and Gregory Crosby and Chris Kane and Evan McDonald and Rodney, Jay Lee, and myself. And I said you, Evan, didn't I? I do believe I said Evan, and the Melancholics, I believe, will be here in some incarnation and other surprises as the evening goes on. It's not me. It has nothing to do with me, baby.
No, it's me.
Well, that was me. I shot. So now I'm gonna
Don't walk in front of the speakers.
right. See, you're mic'd, Dave Anson, and when you walk into these zones.
I was asked to walk in front of the mic.
All right, I'm going to do a little cleansing poem, a small poem before Dave Anson comes up, and then Dave Anson will treat you to some words and sounds. It's a very short poem, it's untitled. I was very nervous that the man without any legs was looking at me and said, "Thank God I'm not neurotic." Okay, that's it. Thank you, that was the entire poem. Please keep clapping for David Anson, Club Symbiosis, 99.
Okay, is that a check?
Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Now they can hear me. Hello. Nice to meet you all. I'm sure I've seen most of you in different places. Welcome to the Club Symbiosis Mutual Admiration Society. I would like to start with something I call farm fresh breasts. Both eyes wide, all pink inside. You have the luxury of a goddess. Curled under the blankets, feeling sorry for yourself. I am not that pretty. Little hands, buttonholes, and buttons, so simple. Warm with air tunnels in your eyes. Don't march past me, Auschwitz centerfold. Count the days on a string, the earth with your feet. Take up the corners of your world and wring it dry. Come walking up the River Jordan, getting your shoes wet on the kitchen floor. Your thighs are clean and shaven. Strong like horse necks, pulling the rusty staple. glue factory puddles wrapped around a feverish womb. Your toes harden, your lips have come to rest.
I tried to explain.
Judge, should I just avoid the stage altogether?
Stand on a chair.
There is no answer. Early morning, the rats in my tummy are hungry. I feel the ripples of feet, huddled in groups, expectant. A three-ring circus surrounded by mirrors, insinuating fire, swallowing my throat.
That's all you really need to do.
Afraid to smile, choking as prescribed. No rest, comfort, consolation, comes sickness and difficult breath. What can be done later may never be. For my faith envisions air as a God's first and last, and that which does not
I
inhale
kind of like it better when
as faith crumbling in the clay.
it's kind of a
Cold as the dead in drawers at the threshold, longing for the inside, turning hands toward one another, empty like our faces. That once exploding spark is now an
I need
ember,
a copy of this for my own.
rolling black and orange and gray, just as the urn is a vessel. Swallow me, throats of the earth, hungry, scared, if even aware. It is not but longing for what still is not. Turning in a spot. Someday I may have to peel off this fat, lay in the pan, and scream for sticky life. Until then,
But I'm going to go and get
I will pull the bag over my eyes and rest. I'll have to get down for this one. Vertigo. Touched on the nose tip, he crumbles, sunken in, ribs sticking out the skin, pushing into the earth. Crevices open wider, wider, where children fall in distant playgrounds. The red ball rolls away, where the grass rips. He feels deflated. Red ball thumbprint for score in Dodge City, kicking the ball's grass stain. It seems like life is spent walking towards bright lights. It sounds like smashing a head with a hammer through a pillow. Like nudes riding the rail. Caved in, touchdown, home run, the hot dog on the bun. Ice cream on the blacktop, soft tunnels in the sand. It, sailors' tattoos, battle scars, stubble hard to kiss, hanging slick in his ear. He stumbles, sunken ships, holding to the rail, mouth yawning like the ocean's pushing open, sick children spilling red rubber, rolling off the deck. He cannot move, muscles failing through space, past themselves. I can tell you all like me, but I can also tell you can't tell when I'm done. Pest house. The bed louse, with its soft touch, cannot disturb the shimmering mucus influenza slumber. This morning, receding in open mouth, breathing, the beetles that eat off clean, unclean teeth, wiping their faces. Well, I'll sandwich this next one between the other two because it's superior. The Penitent Man. This is based on a dream in which I actually got to see Jerry Garcia jam with everybody else that's dead. I wish I was a head-knocking man, the mother of invention. Such gestures frozen like the marbled stump. Bound for glory's bloody gutters, the empty hand losing its way, the stumbling block. The penitent man's broken frames scrape dust from the walls and the ceilings on our shoulders. the bright opening of doors, splintered wind hallways, the theater exits are light. The rushed crowd flooding out into the street to hear the carrying remains. Solitary opera of blooming, welling up in tears, voluptuous Venus picked the rose, spinning over her shoulder, the harmonizing purr, the lion on the floor, the sphinx, smooth, jeweled forehead of a Buddha, freeze-dried steak missing an arm, the buildings burned down, the penitent man, soothing them with kindness, pulling up their sagging pants, the wooden figures, the old man and his little girl, these are all animals getting ready for work. It's a common fairy tale called Snow White. Is that snow white that falls hushed on winter's floor, or driven to stand catatonic in a mine where a million diamonds shine? It is not really a movement, but a shifting of a soft royal glow, drooping and flying open, wrinkling blown water, trees hunched and erect in a nightwood of eyes. The hag-warded heart of a pig, wings turning with the season, an apple just before her eyes, where her life seems to focus. Hands, voice, a perfect disguise. Just like a dollhouse, she stares at 7 untidy children, the wishing well, the magic mirror, the wind in a box. She has but one song, a slave's reflection. I had promised 15 minutes, but I think I'm only going to make it 12.
That's okay.
The man who came to dinner. He made a mad dash for the world, and they stared at him over chopsticks and handheld bowls of rice, over the steaming centerpiece of many foods. They stared at him with naked eyes and with the help of science. And the man who came to dinner spoke to himself under his breath and giggled,
right now.
sweating profusely, feeling scrutinized. And even the anchorman stared from his evening television newscast. And they asked him if he was on drugs. And they asked him if he were insane. And they asked him why he was sweating through the collar and armpits of his t-shirt. Why he was mumbling to himself. What was so funny that he giggles? But they never opened their mouths. They never opened their mouths. They opened their chests and abdomens to show their innards, to tell the future. They opened their wrists to season the rice for one last time. But most of all, they opened their eyes, so glossy he thought them dead. Draped over tables and arched over chairs, holding bowls of maggots in their hands, chopsticks holding open the eyelids, steam rising from his centerpiece. He made a mad dash for the world, and they stared after him.
David Anson. David Anson! David Anson. All right, in Portland, Oregon, he placed Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon. I keep milking it 3 times. That's all it takes. Shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris King throwing me off down to my left knee. Thank you. Portland, Oregon has a tradition of doing answer poems. It's like when someone reads a poem, someone comes up and does an answer poem to the poem that someone just read. They can pick any one of the poems, and I'm going to do that right now. Yeah? Makes you think. This is an answer poem to David Anson's poem. So it's more of an Anson poem. It's an Anson answer poem. This is an answer poem to your poem called Vertigo. I don't have vertigo. I have horizontago. It's hard keeping the earth steady. That's it. That's all. Answer poems are usually much shorter than the original poems because they are extemporaneous. But you usually can't tell because they're so good. Am I right, people?
Yeah, I know!
Okay, now I'm gonna sing. Because I'm wearing a Tippy Elvis jacket, so I have to sing. Okay, this is gonna be a cappella.
Okay.
I won't say that word one more time tonight. Yeah, who's gonna be the jokey one then, huh? All right. Just keeping it real, as it were.
If you will.
When I'm singing now, thank you. That's right. When there's so many good poets and singers coming up tonight. Okay, I'm not saying I'm either one, but maybe I'm both. When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide where I stop and I turn, go for a ride, and then I get to the bottom where I see you again. See you again. So do you or don't you want me to make you? I'm coming down fast, but don't let me break you. Oh, tell me, come on, tell me. Why don't you tell me the answer? Well, you may be a lover, but you ain't no dancer. Thank you. Helter Skelter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Charlie Manson stole it from the Beatles, and then the U2 stole it from Charlie Manson, and now I stole it from U2, and I'm keeping it. Thank you. All right, so many fine poets tonight at the club Symbiosis. So many fine singers. Chris King sticking together all of his magical petals of love. But now let me tell you,
We need 1 minute for this.
it's not going to be Chris yet.
Then we're going to do Dawn. We need
You're confusing me.
we just need a couple minutes.
Oh, helter skelter, yeah. I've got blisters on my fingers. Did I kill enough time? Thank you. Stretch it, right. Here's a poem about Timothy Leary. Writing shit off that man. Okay.
Yeah, we just need silence for a second.
This is a poem called Amida for our Jewish friends. See, Amida is a silent prayer. How many Jews do we have in the house tonight? You're not Jewish. By injection, thank you. Beth, don't work blue. If you learn nothing else from tonight, don't work blue. Work sort of periwinkle. Work aqua. But don't work blue. I'm really not sure what's going on. I'm going to announce a poet or a singer.
We're just doing a mic check for Chris, and then we're going to do Dawn.
Ladies and gentlemen, a mic check for Chris.
Mic check. Mic check.
Yes, in fact, it is a mic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a mic. Did I mention that Trish Martin and Harry Fagel are reading poetry tonight as well? I guess not. Why don't you check that mic one more time? It was very popular with the crowd. Chris King, checking the mic.
Mic check.
Does that work for you?
Did anyone see little black bags? That's what I'm looking for. Just a little black bag. It's under one of these tables.
It's got some pipes in it.
And a little black book.
Hi, it's Controlled Madness. Now I'd like to bring up, if that's okay with you,
I think so.
a poet who many of you know and who many of you love, but who everyone will know and love after she reads her poetry. Please welcome Don Pomento.
Okay, love is really heavy. You don't have to love me. You would be nice.
Now,
I'm afraid of speaking too much. This is for Wendy O. and Marlena D. And all of the goddesses who gave up on life when they gave up on the mirror. A beautiful woman belongs to the world. All doors open, heads turn, ears cock. Say it then, say it all. Say it with pyrotechnics and stupid lyrics. Explode. Watch the Cadillacs crash and burn and drown while inside you exist only outside. Everything is visible. It's there on the surface. Gaffer's tape and a G-string leave nothing else to say. The end. What kind of will hammers a steak knife into a sternum, her own sternum? A will that could also howl from the forest, throw those empty bottles into the streets, yowling mortality. Breathe, shake a fist, knowing staying alive is the only revenge. Yeah, that was the end. This was actually written before I ever met Josh Abbey. I feel like I should say that since Josh is in the audience. Before settling in this land, I prepared by reading Edward Abbey, imagining myself also with maps to divine the springs or remaining wells. I arrived with sturdy footgear and a wide-brimmed hat. I came to the desert to live. I'm not in denial. I didn't look for the St. James Bay or Cayman Bay apartments. I didn't live in the Harbor Islands or Club Pacific apartments. I didn't live in Lake Sahara Terrace, Lake Sahara, or Sandy Lake Villas, or even the Riverbend apartments, which at least offers a view of the wash. So that the optimistic newcomers who here are flooding in the desert imagine they will eventually have a view of running water. And to them I say, you moved to the wrong city. We live in a desert. We don't need olive trees from the Mediterranean or palm trees from more southern lands, or especially the lush green trees that transform every old neighborhood into tiny replicas of New Jersey, which is not a desert, and where they do not try to grow cacti or creosote. I live in the desert, and I expected more sand, less visible water, occasional restrictions on water use. But this is a land that was settled by people who want sunshine, not humidity, and lawns and pools like TV homes. They do their best to disguise the earth, to deny it. But we live in the desert. That's why I have memorized the number for the Water District Conservation Line. It's 258-3102, so that I can report the many sprinklers which water the sidewalks and me as I walk at night, late, after the festive, the heat has lessened, and I imagine myself with that map of the springs and an extra canteen, just in case, because I'm prepared to live in the desert. Thank you.
Don Pomento.
And particularly what the club Symbiosis is all about. It's about words and music and oil. And here they all mix. Is everyone mixing? Is everyone having a darn good time?
I found my black bag. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris King has found his black bag.
I didn't mean to accuse Alex.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris King doing a mic check. Check it. Check it. Check your head. Thank you. Beastie Boys.
See, like, my check goes over greatly with the crowd.
But it was a little too insular and cliquish. How are you? This is, everyone, when the musicians play, feel free to buy the Espresso drinks because they've got, you know, the electric guitar and they could drown it out. And the poets, all they got are their words that they're just sending out there gently adrift above the crowd. Don't battle them. Embrace them. Thank you. All right, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Portland, Oregon. Valentine's Day tomorrow. It's a day for lovers. And I've written 500 poems in my lifetime, not one about love. Except this one. It is better to have loved and lost than to have been on land of the lost. And have to dress up in that filthy, smelly Sleestack costume every day. Or have to portray their monkey friend. Chuka. That's it. And they wonder why I'm not married. They wonder, in my pocket, warming, are sweetheart candies. If anyone would like to be my Valentine, I've got some words for you. Words like, dig me. Words like, marry me. And then there's words like TLC. TLC. Look at, I'm left eye. Thank you. Hip hop reference, thank you. Waterfall. I don't really know. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris King on the check. Alright. If you've never seen Chris King before, it's quite a treat. Chris King, he's good enough to eat. He keeps the beats, and his seat is awful foxy. Give it up for the Valentine's Day King, the man on the float, the man with the incredibly low scrote. Ladies and gentlemen, Club Symbiosis and Chris King.
how much more time, Dave? Plenty.
That'd be Chris King. That'd be Chris King right there. Chris King. For you to clap for Chris King. And Chris King does the Chris King thing.
Dayvid Figler.
Chris King.
Dayvid Figler.
Chris King. Ooh, with all that feedback, I'm full. Thank you. All right.
Feedback.
Let's keep going with more words. But words like you've never heard. Just trying to rhyme. Get it right sometime. I can't stop.
Got a pop lock?
Wow. It's all interactive. You sure about that? No, he doesn't care. Do you need to get on stage? Right. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Chris King needs to get his guitars out of the way because a dynamo of poetry is coming up next. A man who will stomp his words down your throat. And will give you more than just a tickle. And when you swallow them, they will wind their way through your intestines until they pop out in a fury. The man of poetry.
Exactly.
Was that my fault in any way? Completely absolved of all crime. Speaking of crime, speaking of people, if they had a nightstick and you in a dark alley, would kick the shit out of you. Just to see you bleed. There's a man who once arrested someone just for calling him a fucking pig while robbing a bank. Whatever. Listen. There's good stuff coming up now. If you haven't seen Harry Fagel on the streets, consider yourself fortunate and free. If you haven't seen Harry Fagel on the stage, well, now we're going to make up for some lost time because this is very good. Club Symbiosis presents the word stylings by you acoustic freaks of Harry Fagel.
Damn, that was the best introduction I've ever had all my life. Makes you want to beat a man down. I don't know how this mic's gonna work. I can tend to get really loud sometimes.
Don't worry about it, just do it.
Oh, yeah, well, I gotta warm up a little bit because it's been a while. It's been almost a week since I read anything. So, a real short piece, it's called Talk Show. You dirty, lying, cheating bitch! I love you. Thank you. This first poem is an old piece, and it's called Street Talk, part something, I can't remember what the number is, but it's actually called Vegas Part 2. He stands on the corner with dirt from ugly money blowing past him in the trash-filled gutters. His hat is tattered, the word slots of fun, barely discernible through the filth which finds its way down to a black and ragged jacket that belies the sun that beats down mercilessly. His pants, they sag, mayhap a tribute to the LA gang style. They sag so low that his pelvic bones jut forth at wicked angles, and his belt is 3 old shoelaces tied together. And at the bottom, the mockery of shoes, a cobbler's nightmare with sprung soles and beaten leather, the whole ensemble held together with a strip of duct tape, the miracle tape, with a 10-cent dance grip. His eyes, blue, black, brown, but mostly yellow, stare out with fierce intensity. And he's a remnant, throwback, dirty, poor, white trash, failure of welfare, living on 99-cent beers and dollar cocktails. His teeth flying like kites at crazy tilted windmills, and fear and shit cling to him like static. And he's crying now as the cars fizzle by in the hot sun. Almost no one seeing the sign that says, I need a beer. And a family man stops and gives him $1. And the blue, black, brown, yellow eyes crinkle, and a barely discernible, God bless you, blurts from cracked and bleeding lips, and he totters off toward the mecca of bums, 7-Eleven, where 40 ounces of water from the river left will be purchased and consumed, and the change dumped in a nickel video poker machine, where it will end up lining the pockets of the fabulous Steve Wynn, because everyone knows he owns this town. And the man behind the counter tells him to get the fuck out, so he does. And there he roosts as statuesque as the Howdy Partner sign that totters across the street from him on a stretched out, lonely, hot Las Vegas day. Piece number 2. Never been read. Balls. because I didn't compete flop.
Keep it real.
This is called Summation, and it's another street talk, sort of, I guess. It's just my psyche coming out. The road beneath my feet, hard, buttery taffy that stretches into dark corners through alleyways and broken asphalt, carrying me forward ever faster past rooms with unimaginable scenes. On the corner, once pretty meth-ruined street whore, basking in sodium glow, shaken from the need, coughing and spitting, lips blood red in the darkness and small purse with the same items always present. Condoms, lipstick, and spritzer of perfume, so she can make herself presentable after the next nameless cock. Walk on by, boy! Walk on by. Turn the corner, group of bangers sit on forever stoop, waiting to fuck or waiting to die, flashing signs as meaningful as smoke signals to one another, being real, waiting to die. Rich black Monte Carlo snicks around from the other side of the street, purring ghetto kitty, tinted black windows puffed down, and bullets spray like vomit and enter and exit and leave body bags or colostomy bags or wheelchairs behind, and in the eggshell wall behind a sleeping family never wakes up. Walk on by, boy! Walk on by! Freaks drift past on endless dope, chicken wing arms flapping like bat wings, released from countless funding empty institutions, zombies in an empty shopping mall, bouncing and ricocheting from desert wash to coffee house and back again, licensed scabies living large. You can almost hear them crackle like rice, sizzling rice soup, the kind you can never get in an American soup kitchen. Walk on by, boy! Walk on by! Home at last, I dream of steamrollers and aeroplanes and dust bowls and hunger, all jouncing in my head, trampolined up into endless rafters of smoke. The road, the street, the alleys, all my capillaries, veins and arteries beating with blood. Blood from the lives inhabiting the darkness. I feel the smooth sweat of workers from foreign lands, here illegally to feed large families, drips from my brow and lands on my tongue, and I smell gun smoke and copper and inhale. High like huffing gold paint from Kmart, the road, the street, the alleys invigorate, wash, cheese purifies me. Oh, I'm so fucking high now, tragedy beats me again and again and again against the hard, unyielding pavement, fracturing my head and my heart, my soul, but I'm an addict now. Give me more street. It's a monkey riding me like Icarus toward the sun, higher and higher and higher. Tears burn my face with acid flux regularity, eyes filling and emptying over and over. The road, rock hard nipple, steel hard cock, just from the pure fucking sex of it. How much passion can one man absorb? Deeper and deeper the street sucks me. My head no longer here, it soars on whipping trade wings far above. How much passion, how much anger, how much jealous rage, how much hate, how much love, how much love, how much love. When I finally come, my soul will spill from me in screaming freshets and stain the very street I covet. How much pain, how much anger, how much pain can I see in my life and continue to smile and laugh and be kind? How much anger can I see and not be bitter? How much death can I see and not fear my own mortality? How much hate can I experience and still love? All of it, all of it, all of it, because I saved a life. My soul is buffered forever. Like to end on a positive note. I hope I can read this. Is there any way? I guess there's no way to get any light behind me, right? This is a pen. So if I can get a little light, I'm just going to burn this last piece out, man. This piece is really good. This piece is just bubbly.
Who is the master of all light? Who is the man who controls electricity? That's the burnt album, dude.
I'll try, I'll do my best.
Clear.
Try the switch.
Switch is on the wall.
Plug it in, man. Smoke's pretty long, though, dude.
Why did you turn it off in the first place?
Oh, cool. Now I can't see it at all. I'm back! I'm back in the gym again. Recently, I acquired maximum density, a realization heralded by me standing naked in front of a full-length mirror and realizing with sodden horror that my penis, my puppet, my anger to joy had diminished in comparison to my bulk to a minuscule speck, a bit lost in gigabytes, a tiny, helmeted soldier abandoned on a vast, rolling plain. And below, mocking me with miniature marshmallow calluses, my balls peeked out, shy, tiny acorns, shadowed by the pliant, rubbery oaks that rose on either side like massive pillars leading to the halls of Justice or Montezuma or maybe Jenny Craig. My lips trembled and sent ripples down my udders across my stomach and down to my rounded, lackluster ankles. And motivation struck me like a hammer. And now I'm back! Cooking. The Inquisitor squeaks and pops and whistles like a hoe bed in a $10 flop tail. Sweat pours, no spray from me like Benji shaking after a dip in Lake Erie. And I'm back! I'm back! I'm back in the gym again! Ooh, feeling the testosterone lick through my veins, trickling centrically, concentrically, pulling in my center. Even though I see, everything I see crashes and surges, all rhythmic and in sync with the heavy metal acid rock riffs that soar through me. It's even stronger and more powerful and more invigorating than any info fucking commercial ever. Fuck you, Tony Little. And I'm back. I'm back. I'm back in the gym again. And I think this is as close to heaven as I've ever been. And I get home and strip naked and stand and pose. And my penis is still tiny. But at least I can see my nuts.
Harry Fagel. Harry Fagel. He says, you know I'll be done because my last line will be, at least I can see my nuts. And I knew, and I came up. Here's a poem by a guy named Dayvid Figler. It's called Having Sex with a Hippie Chick. It's for Harry Fagel. Yeah, environment, right, yeah. Oh, thank you. Chris King liked that one. Was that insensitive?
I liked it.
This gives me great pleasure now to bring up to the stage. And anyone see Without You, Nothing, Sandberg Harry film? I'm just thinking about the Shoshana. That's from my sister. Wait, you gotta go to my car and get all your stuff out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Taking care of the household chores up on stage in front of everybody else. Ray Fagel, ladies and gentlemen, Golden Glove, 1997. Fine photographer indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to bring up stage to you a man who's maybe not going to come to the stage. You got that lavalier around your neck? Are you going to come up here? What are you going to do? Baby, it don't really matter, because he's going to give you some words named down your ears. Give you a little peanut butter and jelly for the soul. You know what I'm saying? Hi, I was just a little bit of a wave. How are you? I'm back. I'm back! So listen, we're going to answer poem, Harry Fagel. Wasn't he good, Harry Fagel? Look at him. He's a good man. He's a good man. Keeping safe streets for everybody. No fear, Cavalier. All right. Gregory Crosby, Prince of Poetry, a man who has not one but 2 chapbooks for sale here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, commercialism is not dead. It is thriving in the words of a man who knows how to use words. Ladies and gentlemen, please Please, please, please. I'm wearing velvet. Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 welcome Gregory Crosby. Who's right over there? Eyes focus on that man. Pay no attention to what's going on stage.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The man's got no sound. Give him some sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it on? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Hold on, the mute TV on now. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm not getting signal. Hold on. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 3 epic haikus. The Odyssey. Ulysses left Troy. He wandered a long, long time. At last, he came home. Thank you. Don Quixote. Don Quixote, nuts. Sancho kept an eye on him, but he fought windmills. Thank you. The Inferno. 9 circles of hell. Next time, sighs Dante, I'll take the elevator. Thank you. There's a triptych. You can applaud at the end. Now, please hold your applause, because I'm not going to read every single really short poem I've ever written. This is Radio Free Blonde. I'm in love with your hair, spread out like a crippled rhyme over a crisp hospital pillow, sanitized, white. It makes a wonderful crinkle sound from the weight of my kiss. This is called Imperial Epigram. High above the Arco AM/PM station with its pumps and free refills and dubious fuels flies an American flag large enough to cover 13 thin brown children sleeping fitfully in the dust, which it often does. Washed out and dissipated, it billows surreal like a disastrous cloud, painted by the drunken angels of our nature. Thank you. The preceding selections were taken from Gregory Crosby's 20 Poems, published 1996. It's available, only $2, 2 bones, 2 simoleons. There's only a few left, so please buy it. I need the money. Thank you. Just think of that music. Can't you just picture like Harry dressed as Cupid? Just picture for a second. It's funny. All right, this is called Fig Poem. If only Yahweh had said, you know, Adam, you really shouldn't depend on others for your own personal happiness, things might have been very, very different. Thank you. This is called The Back Seat. And for an instant, hands out the window, bent by the force, awe, and sunlight streaming through new fingers, formed in that reckless crucible, our wonder at the smearing, rushing world, the terminus upon thin wrists, joy's pure, wavering shadow. Thank you. Revenge of a Mortal Hand, the second chapbook, also for sale. And we have a post-impeachment special. Formerly $3, now $2. Like the blue one. Only 3 left. This is called Anagram. Censor glory by grace, the pious say. Noble graces cry orgy whenever they can. Gay noble grocers cry in their loneliness. Craggy, noble sorcery darkens the face of the land. This is called Temple. Love the blue spark, your vein, blue under the temple, temple of lightning, blue lightning forks like trees, the branches of trees. I am held in those branches, the arms of your blood, in the blue arms of your love, fixed beneath your skin, the arm of your heart's lightning. Blue spark of love beneath the temple where my kiss falls like a pause in the thunder of your pulse. Thank you. This is called Tonka for Dr. Slepian. Through the doctor's back, a bullet for life flies through. Good Christians rejoice. Did John Brown's bloody hand guide the sniper's blank, bloodshot eye? Thank you. This is called Later. She married a banker. Even after, ever after, her eyes retained their color, the hue of desert holly, a pale green further paling to a translucence, like faint stars, reversed, but not in their courses, you understand. Thank you. You know, at every reading I like to baby my voice with a little touch of a hot latte. Thank you. I lied, I wasn't going to read all the short poems because I don't have any short poems, that's it. And all the rest are like pages long. So this is new, this is called, oh wow, look at this. David, I did that choice. Radio Lucid. This is called, this is new, this is called Valley of Fire. It's a little longer. Valley of Fire. The white domes at noon. Thought and memory drift down soundlessly off the wind. We feel them before we see them. Two ravens who know their park, their restaurant a rock a few yards from the table. They are ravenous, of course. They give to our speech while we give back only squawks, our attempts at them. I throw an apple that bears my marks to be devoured by such different mouths. Black steeples split, voiced with rattle and caw, more complaint than prayer. A sharpened prayer then, pointed, meant to be overheard. The sun is in it. They are only omens of themselves, not ambassadors of creation, nor our inventors. Still, I stare into them as if they were looking into us. I am human and cannot help it. These are not the same ravens as before, not eternal. My words are the mimicked language here. They peck, tear the apple down to its core, trading qualms to each other. Who is eavesdropping here? Sated, they turn in that awkward two-legged way, quickly lift up toward a draft, floating like cutouts, dark windows in the screening, dubious blue that is theirs. I reach for a fresh apple. Who precisely is the ember above this landscape of frozen fire? Who is the ash which rising swiftly falls with the heat's diffusion, the ever-cooling, dwindling world and its justification? Thank you. Oh, I think it's to you? Okay. Pardon.
Oh yeah. My velvet is crushed already, baby. You don't understand. So close. Thank you very much, Gregory Crosby. Buy his books. He's trying to go on a honeymoon with his lovely betrothed.
We gotta leave in 20 minutes.
And the bus is outside, and they ain't got the fare. So, please. It's shaky. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm distracting you over here. Nothing's going on stage. Nothing at all. Gregory Crosby, wasn't he great? Isn't this a great idea?
This whole club Symbiosis thing, you know who's responsible for it primarily besides all the artists and all the people who support all the artists? A young man named Doug Jablin. Just keeping the hope alive. Keep hope alive. Doug Jablin. You know, if it weren't for the collective efforts, you know, it wouldn't happen. But if it weren't for the individual efforts, it wouldn't happen either. All right. Doug Jablin, born and bred in various places, but he's really a Vegas guy, isn't he? All right. Let's hear it for Doug Jablin. Let's hear it for all the people who've helped tonight. Martha on the video. Martha. Evan McDonald on sound, ladies and gentlemen. Evan McDonald. We got people working at the Roma. Let's hear it for Andrew Ramsey, the manager. He runs the joint. And perhaps he'll grace us with some song stylings later in the evening, huh? Who wants to hear Andrew Ramsey later on tonight, huh? Yeah, Andrew's like, yeah! All right, I'm just talking now. I'm gonna tell you a little story. A little story about a little group. A little group that may or may not be known to you, but soon will be known to everyone. This was a letter that was sent through the United States Postal Service to a little lady whose name won't be mentioned, it's not important, but the words, they speak for themselves. Dear new Saturn owner, I'd like to thank you for buying a Saturn and believing in us. When the first Saturn rolled off the first assembly line in 1990, a lot of people thought we'd never succeed. They tried to put us down. Well, you proved them wrong, along with more than 1 million other Saturn owners. It didn't take long for me to understand that Saturn is special. They encourage team spirit and sharing responsibilities so everyone has a real chance to contribute. It's nice because I know that my job on the transmission team in Spring Hill, Tennessee, is just as important as the job of an engineer who draws up the plans, or a retailer who owns the store, or the guy who says, your Saturn's ready. We all understand that there's a little bit of all of us in every car we build, in the car that you have. I hope you enjoy your Saturn, every single piece of it. Patsy and Beverly.
I say, thank you.
I bought a Saturn. Saturn is like a cult. They're already named after a Roman god. And when I showed up on the Saturn lots, it took hours and hours for me to get my financing. In the meanwhile, numerous other couples buying their first Saturn ever were led to the launch pad. It's this little circle in the middle of the lot where all the new Saturn members gather around their cars ready to be launched by all employees. In fact, I was speaking on hour number 5 to my financing director, and an announcement came over the loudspeaker. All Saturn employees to the launch pad. All Saturn employees to the launch pad. He said, wait here. So they all scurried about, all of them. The receptionist, the guy who sells the donuts, the guy who says, yeah, here's your car. And they all gathered around the launch pad. I was supposed to stay in the finance office, but I didn't. I snuck outside to see what was going on. And they all gathered in a semicircle around this bright, shiny new Saturn with this couple from the Midwest, just recently moved out to Las Vegas, you know, for a piece of the good life. And they looked dazed, this new couple. And everyone was gathered around, and the manager was clapping his hands. And they were all clapping their hands. And they're clapping and clapping and clapping and clapping. And the manager said, Bob, what do you like about your Saturn motor? most? And Bob says, I like the way I get a smooth ride from point A to point B. And they clapped and clapped and clapped and clapped. And then the manager said, Phyllis, what do you like about your Saturn? She says, well, besides the fact that we all drive Saturns and none of us are any better than the rest of us, I love the fact that my Saturn never lets me down, unlike some men I've dated in my life. I love Saturn. And they clapped and clapped and clapped. And they all went around, each with their own individual Saturn story. The Midwestern couple started to get into the groove. Yes, they were finally members of a family that would love them and care for them and send them letters in the mail. So then they sang the song that haunts me to this day. The manager clapping. I say, Saturn. I say, service. I say, USA. And then again, I say, Saturn. I say, service. I say, USA. Everyone clapping, everyone chanting, a frenzy, a wild frenzy. And the couple from the Midwest got into their car and glided off the launch pad to the cheers, the hoots, and the hootenanny of the crew. Everyone went back to their normal business. I ran back to the finance office where the gentlemen came back to talk turkey. And we talked and we talked and we talked, and eventually I signed on the dotted line. But I got no launch pad service, just these words from the finance manager. Miss one payment, Mr. Figler, and we'll put a cap in your ass. I never received any further correspondence from the Saturn family after that, but I've turned many a friend onto the Saturn family indeed. Cult status, it's inescapable. Gregory Crosby owns a Saturn. My mom and dad own a Saturn. My sister owns a Saturn. And when each became a member of the cult, I received a check in the mail for $50. Headhunter fee, if you will. Perhaps I'm an evangelist and I don't even know it. But today, in the mail, my sister received something. A picture of her and her new Saturn on Launchpad Day with Chuck, the salesman. On the outside, it says, welcome to the Saturn family. On the inside, a haunting poem, a poem which you should remember for the rest of your lives. We wish you many miles of smiles, Chuck. If you please divert your attention away from me and focus on the main stage, where Evan McDonald and Ethernet will rock the house. They're just here to rock your motherfucking socks off. Ethernet, ladies and gentlemen. Ethernet.
Actually, we're trying to stick with the theme of the evening. We're trying to make sure we don't talk about anyone's testicles, or we're trying to be pro-supportive to the cultural diversity we have out here this evening. So I won't talk about the size of my penis at all. It's really a very short subject. Yeah, all right. Hey, can we have a little hand for Doug and all the great poets that are running around tonight? I mean, gang load of talented folks all coming out to hang out at the cafe tonight, so it's nice to be with them. Check. Yeah, we're Ethernet. We've been around for a little bit. We do all original music, so if anyone's interested after we get done playing, we may forget to tell you about it, but we got a little mailing list over there, and hang out, because there's some really, really good poetry still to come. I'm sure you're not here for us, so you won't. Right?
Right.
Oh, man. Damn, it's always the people you think that they're your friends and shit.
You asked.
There's a dude named Jeffro Jam in here, man. He's one of the most talented. Actually, he plays keys like a motherfucker, but you gotta see this dude step up and just do some. This dude does some, like, it would be avant-garde performance, acting, poetry meets wildlife kingdom. I don't even know, man. It's pretty out there, but. Jeffro, are you gonna step up tonight?
Yes, he will.
Oh man, Jeffro Jam in the house. I'm gonna have to smoke some rocks and come back and get all wired up for this shit. I mean, not smoking rocks. I don't want to say that. There's a policeman here.
Welcome if you got him.
Thank you. It's a little song called Alone.